2 Samuel chapter 1. 2 Samuel chapter 1. The title is SOS. In this section that we're going to cover, David is giving a lament and paying homage to the death of Saul and his sons. And it's not a question. When you read this statement is made 3 times. How are the mighty fallen? It's not a question. It's an exclamation. It's a woe. How are the mighty fallen? Now he gives you, because it's not a question, he gives you the answer to begin with. This is why the mighty fell and how they're fallen. So we'll get into this. The text doesn't say something that every modern version says. I looked this up. In every version, every single one of them, they change a key word that destroys the rendering of the passage. If you read it according to the King James, I say it says this: how are the mighty fallen? That's something you can take home right now, because it might be happening right this minute. The mighty are falling. However, if I said, how have the mighty fallen? You think it's history. It's past tense. But the Bible says are. It's a current issue that we need to take note of. In the NIV, it says, a gazelle lies slain in your heights, Israel. How have the mighty fallen? I don't care about the gazelles. And they did it a long time ago, so what difference does that make to us? The New Living Translation. Your pride and joy, O Israel, lies dead on the hills. Oh, how the mighty heroes have fallen. English Standard Version. Your glory, O Israel, is slain on your high places. How the mighty have fallen. Berean Study Bible, same thing. New American Standard. New King James. Only the King James says are fallen. And then the list just goes on and on. But I looked it up. Probably 15, 20 versions. Every single one of them changes it to a past tense event. Have. That's not the Bible. The Bible says are, because you and I could at any minute fall the same way. And we need to know this information, or we'll lie on the hill just like Saul and his sons did. Notice our text here, 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 19. 2 Samuel 1, verse 19. The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Now, to me, this whole story is amazing, that David would give this eulogy like this. He's been running for his life from Saul. His whole life has been nothing but trouble and turmoil because of this man that just finally got his. And David says, oh, he was so beautiful and a wonderful man. He's the one that clothed you. That takes some grace. That takes something more than I got. And he says, that was a mighty man, and he fell. You need to take note of it. Okay. Well, how many times have we watched the supposed bigwigs fall around us, the spiritual TV evangelists fall? And we shake our finger and say, they're so wicked, they should have known better, they did this, and that, instead of have a David response. That's tough. David could have said many bad things about Saul. He was possessed, he threw a javelin at me 3 times, and he lied to me. He said, I was going to be able to be free, my house would be free, and then he told me I couldn't leave the palace. A lot of things he could have said about Saul, but he didn't. Good man. Probably better than me. Let's just review real quickly, or this will go too long. David was fleeing constantly from Saul. And he went down to the Philistines and said, I'm going to find refuge here. Well, in a minute, we'll get there. We're not quite there yet. But he goes to the Philistines and he says, oh, wait a minute. These guys look like they're going to do me in. I better come up with another plan. a plan B, double B. So he plays the madman. And he says, get this guy out of my presence. I don't need a madman. And so then he strikes a deal with for his parents to have safety. Now that's a big thing. If Saul can't get David, what do you think the next thing he's going to do? He's going to go after the parents. So David's got to find a place to get his family safe. So what's he do? He goes down to Moab. The Moabites are going to keep him safe. Whew. That's a crazy thing. Then David goes to the Masada, stays there for a while until Gath, the seer, says, hey, you need to get moving. So he flees from there. Eventually he builds up an army of 600 men. Now he goes back to Gath and says, hey, I got 600 guys. We've all been fleeing from Saul. Y'all need some help around here. And he says, yeah. David said, well, how about you give me a city? He says, how about that one down there in the south quarter? And he takes Ziklag. But that was a possession given him by a Philistine. And from the time it was given to him, all throughout the history of Israel, it stayed in the nation of Israel. But it was a possession originally of Philistia. So he gets that thing. In the meantime, the Philistines have decided we're going to all get together, and we're going to go up and we're going to take care of Israel once and for all. They were always saying this. Well, now David's attached to them. So they decide they're going to go up there, and they meet about halfway in a city, and they all get together. David joins the party, and the guys say, wait a minute. No go. We know that turkey in the back there. Kick him out. And so here he's got to trudge all the way back home, all the way down south beyond all the 5 major cities of the Philistines, down to Ziklag. When he gets there, it's burned. It's a ghost town. His wives and all his possessions, bye-bye. So he's got to run down south even farther, crosses the brook Breor. When he gets there, his men, 200 of them, say, we just can't go any farther. And they can. They've been traveling a long way. So 4 of them keep on going. They overtake the Amalekites who had taken everything from them. And then they go back, and then he's got to put up with another issue. Now his men are bickering back and forth. Hey, these 200, they dropped the ball. We did all the work. The paycheck should reveal that. David says that we're going to start a new rule here. Hazard pay goes for everybody, whether you were in the final string or not. So he's fighting with all of this stuff. Constant headache between his men, the bickering, all of that stuff, and the issue with Saul. The issue with his parents. I mean, it's just a constant turmoil. I don't think we would have been able to handle it. I mean, we think we got problems. These are real problems. Then he finds out Saul's dead. Well, that would have been a sigh of relief. Well, I was anointed king. It's about time this happened. But that's not the response he had. What he wanted people to notice was a mighty man can fall. And he directs the attention to 3 different scenarios. Saul, Jonathan, and the nation. The three times he says, how are the mighty fallen? And he's talking to one of the 3 groups. In the first one, the reason that Saul falls is because of selfishness. Selfishness. God and Saul have a different priority of conversation. Saul only sees these Philistines coming at him, and God sees the stubborn self-will of Saul. So Saul's saying, hey, God, come save me. I got problems here. Fix this situation. And God ain't answering. He says, no, that's not what we're talking about right now. Solve the problem. Run back to where you and I had an issue, and we'll start there. But he didn't. We do that too. We say, God, fix this problem right here. And many times the reason he doesn't fix that problem right there is because there's a previous problem where we broke fellowship with him. He says, you restore that, then we can have a conversation. But I'm not just going to have a conversation with the wicked just for the sake of having a conversation with the wicked. Wickedness has to be dealt with. Look at 1 Samuel 28. 1 Samuel 28, verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams. Now, I'm sure he was trying hard. He was eating him some raw persimmons, some green persimmons the night before, going to bed. Maybe I'll dream it up tonight, and nothing happened. Nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then said Saul unto his servant, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said unto him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor.
Funny how he knew that.
Yeah. All right. Somebody's been playing in things they shouldn't have. So he's okay with going to this witch, even though he's the one who had outlawed the witch. He said they're to all be put to death. But yet now when he needs an answer, and God says, no, we're going to go the hard way, you're going to get right with me first. Saul says, no, there's got to be a better way than that. How about the witches? The man who was praised as being head and shoulders taller than any of the rest of Israel is soon to perish headless. They chop his head off. Now he's the same size. Saul inquired of the Lord, but he didn't seek the Lord. There's a difference. You can ask God things, but that's not asking for God. Big difference. Saul wanted supernatural help from God, but he wasn't willing to do what was natural to make himself an ally of God. I see people do that all the time. They want an answer from God. God needs to come down here and supernaturally fix this problem, but I'm not going to do anything special for him. You want something special from God? What are you going to attempt that's spectacular for God? Tough. I got to quit preaching. This is convicting. Hosea chapter 5. Hosea 5 verse 14. Hosea 5:14. For I will be unto Ephraim as a lion, and as a young lion to the house of Judah. This is God talking. Even I will tear and go away. I will take away, and none shall rescue him. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. That's the reason for affliction many times. As God says, I want you to seek me. Not seek an answer to your affliction. The affliction was simply to get your attention. Saul was slain before he entered the battle. In the high place of his head, he regarded and cultivated iniquity until, like a malignant cancer, it became the martinet of the monarch. It destroyed him. Now that's Saul, but we've got another one that died up there. 2 Samuel 1, verse 25. Here's Jonathan. 2 Samuel 1, verse 25. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. He was slain in the midst of battle. He was overpowered by opposition. Now that can get you. What's it take to stop you? Shouldn't be anything stopping us. If God is our refuge, what's bigger than God? Zero. Unless we stepped out there and told him to take a break, we got this. You'll fall flat on your face real quick that way. How are the mighty fallen? Sometimes they're fallen by opposition. Sometimes we just get wore out. That tells us we're the ones fighting. In the heat of the battle is where strength is revealed. The man who had gained victory over the Philistines at high noon. Remember this guy? Jonathan. Everybody, Saul couldn't figure out what to do. He said, I tell you what we're going to do. Nobody eat anything. I mean, that's real smart, isn't it? Tell an army don't eat. Nobody's going to eat anything till we get victory. And Jonathan obviously hadn't been around when Saul gave the command. He and his armor bearer aren't sitting there moping. They're looking for something to do. They climb up the crags of a rock and they go, they get a great victory. That was against the Philistines. Now it's the Philistines who end up getting Jonathan. He's slain by the Philistines when the clock hits high noon once again. It says in the midst of battle. Right in the thick of it. Joshua chapter 10. Joshua 10. Joshua 10 verse 12. In the thick of the battle, in the hottest spot of the battle is where we should shine. That's tough. Joshua 10 verse 12. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven. That's high noon. And hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of men, for the Lord fought for Israel. The thick of the battle is when God wants to do some fighting. You need the thick of the battle. You need high noon. That's when he comes out. He's not going to do something beyond our ability until we've used up our ability. He gives us the strength to do so much. And then when it's all we can do, he says, Lord, watch what I can do. Okay, you've exhausted yourself. Good, that's what I want you to do. Now watch what I do. Proverbs chapter 24. Proverbs 24 verse 10. This is a feel-good message here. Proverbs 24 verse 10. He says, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Well, duh. When else are you going to faint? Of course, when you're in the middle of adversity. That's when we all faint. We all consider ourselves strong. And whatever situation puts us down, we figure that's the exception. That nobody could have handled that. He said right here, your strength is small. But now for a Christian, it means a whole lot more. Because our strength ain't our strength. Look at Psalms 28. Psalm 28 verse 7. Psalm 28 verse 7. It says, the Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusteth in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiceth, and with my song will I praise him. The Lord is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointed. So if your strength is small in the day of adversity because you fainted, you're actually saying God's pretty small. Because who's your strength? God's supposed to be your strength. And if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. If you fainted because you didn't depend on strong strength. If you're a Christian, you don't have a choice. You're his, period. And you don't have anything. He bought you lock, stock, and barrel. He emptied you out. You ain't nothing. Now he moved in. If he's in you, there ain't nothing stronger than that. Unless you tell him to sit down, take a break. I'm going to handle this one. Jeremiah chapter 12. Jeremiah 12 verse 5. Jeremiah 12:5. If thou hast run with the footmen, and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou contend with horses? And if in the land of peace, wherein thou trusted, they wearied thee, then how wilt thou do in the swelling of Jordan? This is tough stuff here. He says right there, whatever it was that knocked you out of the battle, that was small potatoes. What are you going to do when it really gets bad? Because it's coming. Okay. Well, the fact of the matter is Jonathan had at one time been really strong. He went up there, he and an armor bearer, and took care of business what the whole army couldn't figure out. Well, now it's overcome him, and it killed him. Just because you won one victory doesn't mean that you're not going to be one of the fallen. It's easy to fall after having won a victory because we suddenly pin that on ourselves like a medal, as though the medal's going to earn us something. No, sir, every battle has to be fought. No battle you get to walk out there and say, you see these medals right here? I won before. That ought to scare you. No, it never scares them. Every battle's got to be fought like you've never fought one. Or you'll end up being the mighty that's fallen. Okay, now there's another thing. There's another way that the mighty have fallen. Israel as a nation was a mighty nation. Everybody has always come against them. They're still doing it today. One of the ways that Israel in our story here is fallen is because they don't get any more help. That's bad news. If you're counting on some reinforcements and the reinforcements look over there and say, "Oh, it's looking pretty bad. I think I got somewhere else I got to be." And they don't come to your aid, you get no help. You're not gonna stand long. Separation. Separation is another way they fall. Look at it in verse 27. 2 Samuel 1:27. 2 Samuel 1:27. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? The weapons of war just perished. They gone. Not doing anything. No good. There's some more weapons of war in the hands of some men that are not willing to use them. Might as well have not even been there. We do this because we do upholstery, and as you take things apart, you see things that the normal person doesn't see. We'll see the stamp that says, "Made in China, assembled in USA." It matters where it's made. It matters where that weapon is from. The country of manufacture has a lot to do with the quality. Now, a sword made in Gath means nothing in comparison to a stone made by God. The origin makes a difference. But even the best origin does you no good if you don't use it. Now, we've got a leg up on most people. We know the King James. He's got it all right here. But are we using it? Doesn't do you any good to have it if you don't use it. Let's continue. 1 Samuel 3. 31. 1 Samuel 31. First Samuel 31, look at verse 7. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side of Jordan, saw that the men of Israel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled. And the Philistines came and dwelt in them. Uh-oh. The nation's fallen because people are running. They're not binding together. Now, we get together as an assembly. Now, that's great. There comes a time we've got to separate. You know, after a 3-hour sermon, then you got to go home. Okay? That's when you're going to be in the battle. More than likely, Philistines are coming after you. But then we get back together, and hopefully that reinforces you and strengthens you and gives you what you need to go back out and fight them again. However, this nation isn't going to get any reinforcements because everybody in the other city saw what happened and they took off for the hills. The guy who ends up presenting David with the jewelry of Saul says, I was sure after he had fallen that he couldn't live. What a statement. Now that's why a lot of Christians forsake other Christians. They say they've fallen, it's over, let's write them off. That's separation. Christians are supposed to bond together. Now, I understand when a person is determined to be wicked. You don't go chumming up with somebody who's decided they're going to be wicked. But you try to fortify them and you try to pull them back to the right ground. You try to help them. However, here, the guys who needed help weren't getting help. The Israelites said, if I start running now, maybe I'll outrun the Philistines. And they did. Look at 1 Samuel 28. First Samuel 28. Here's Saul at the witch of Endor. And the woman came unto Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled. This is after she's given him the truth, that he's going to die. And said unto him, Behold, thine handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I put my life in my hands, and have hearkened unto thy words, which thou spakest unto me. Now therefore I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat, that thou mayest have strength when thou goest on thy way. A lot of that doesn't make any sense, does it? He's just been told, you're going to die. What difference does it make whether or not he's got a good meal? They have this thing where they offer a convicted criminal who's going to the electric chair, the death sentence, his final meal. And they can order anything they want. Why waste the money? You're about to kill him anyway. Don't let him eat anything. And why would he feel like eating? That's Saul. He says, I don't feel like eating nothing. It's over. I'm done for. Verse 22. Now therefore I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat thou, that thou mayest have strength when thou goest on thy way. Oh, she's going to strengthen him, all right. Careful where you get strength from. The devil can offer you some fake strength. Here's a witch going to give him some strength. She's going to fortify him with some food. Now the devil's got all the witches and the wicked things out there that are going to try to strengthen you. Whatever it is, the issues that you've got, the devil's got an answer for it. And it looks like it'll fill your little tummy up. But it's not going to help you. You're still going to die regardless when he goes to the battle. Look at verse 23. But he refused and said, I will not eat. But his servants, this is the ones who had the bright idea of bringing him to the witch of Endor, together with the woman compelled him. And he hearkened unto their voice, so he rose from the earth and sat upon the bed. What was he doing in her bedroom? I don't know, just a note. Verse 24. And the woman had a fat calf in the house. Yeah. That is a good question. She had the first Chick-fil-A, that's right. And she hastened and killed it, and took flour and kneaded it, and did bake unleavened bread thereof. She made it look pretty spiritual, didn't she? Unleavened bread. We got a bunch of supposed churches out there baking you some unleavened bread, but it's nothing but warmed over from the witch's house. It's a bunch of positive feel-good, but no Bible behind it. It appears like it's spiritual language. It's unleavened bread, but it's from the witch's house. Don't trust it. Look at verse 25. And she brought it before Saul and before his servants, and they did eat. Then they arose up and went their way that night. So Saul's doing all this scurrying around the night before he's got to be in battle. And it's going to be a tough battle, and he knows it, and he's already been given the outcome. It's not enough to have a superior weapon. It's not good enough. You got to know how to use it. You know how we know how to use it? Practice. Had Saul gotten right with God, God could have saved him from the battle.
That's right.
He could have. Now, that doesn't mean that he would necessarily say there's not going to be a battle. Now, there's times he's done that. But he probably would have said, now here's how you use a bow. We'll get back to that in a minute. Obviously, they didn't use their bows the right way. It's not enough to just have a good weapon. You need to know how to use it. The best way to know how to use it is to practice with it. When I was young, well, I say younger, I did some deer hunting in Memphis, me and my buddy, and we loved to go out and we did rifle season. Well, we found out if you went on bow season, you could jump the gun. You'd go another month earlier. We said, hey, that's a deal. So I said, man, bow season's open tomorrow. If we had a bow, we'd go bow season. He said, I know where I can get me one. I said, well, I'll bet you my uncle can get me one. And so we did. We each got us a bow, and the season opened the next day, so we go out. But guess what? We hadn't practiced with those things. But we had them in our hand. And, buddy, we saw deer left and right. And we couldn't hit none of them. Doesn't do you any good just to have the weapon if you've not practiced with it. It requires some practice, some effort. Look at 2 Samuel 1. 2 Samuel 1, verse 18. David doesn't want the Israel that he's going to be head of to fall for the same problem. He says this, also he bade them teach the children of Israel the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. He said, okay, you Israelites, it's not enough just to have a Jonathan or a David, a couple of mighty men who know how to use this bow. Everybody's going to learn it. Guess what? In this Christian life, there's no celebrities that we can turn everything over to and they can do the battle. No, so every one of us had better know how to use the bow. We better get it out and know for ourselves. It's not even enough for you to be prepared for battle. Now, that's important. Don't get me wrong. That is a good thing. You need to know that you know how to use the bow. However, we've got another responsibility. You should also make sure your battle buddy is qualified for the conflict because it's coming. Ephesians chapter 2. Ephesians 2, verse 20. Ephesians 2, verse 20. And are built upon the foundation of the apostles and the prophets. Okay, those are the bigwigs. Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building fitly framed, what's that word? Together, groweth unto an holy temple unto the Lord, in whom also ye are built together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. It requires all of us. Now, you don't want to go to battle with the guy next to you who just slept through, the drill instruction. You want to make sure that guy knows how to fight. If he's going to be watching your back, the way you're supposed to do it, when you're in a lineup, you do your pack. Make sure your pack is squared away. But that's not enough. You got to check the guys who's right in front of you. Make sure that pack is right. Well, that's the whole team working as a team. Spiritually, we should be helping each other. But you're not going to be able to help each other if we hadn't helped ourselves. Okay, listen up to the instruction. Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians 4, verse 16. Ephesians 4:16. From whom the whole body fitly joined, there's our word again, together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth. That's not what the young kids are smoking. that's every one of us have a job to do. Every one of us have a magazine of ammunition that we can use, and it's going to take all of us. And compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, maketh increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love. So he says right there, God gave the whole body to work for the whole body. And look, this is crazy to me. It didn't say God coming down there and edifying the body. Did you see what it says? It says the body edifying the body. You get encouraged if you were in a battle and you're running low on ammunition and you see your buddy break open a new magazine. Okay, good. We got some more reinforcements over there. Okay, the whole body helps the whole body, and it's supposed to edify each other. This is the real spiritual warfare that we're in. There's no way around it. No Christian that's ever lived has not been in an army. We're in one, buddy. And if we're not careful, we'll lie out on the shoulder there of the mountain and die just like Saul and Jonathan. The mighty will fall if the mighty don't heed the instructions given.